You're listening to the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM.
Tim and Ian are in the studio, so a very good morning to you both.
Morning.
So, how did it all begin, Simon and Garfunkel? Are you both local guys?
Yeah.
From...
I live in a place called Eccleston, which is like a part of Chorley.
Right.
And Ian's in Leyland. So we'd met through a mutual friend when I was running a couple of kind of singer-songwriter open mic night type evenings. And it was years ago, because I've been a fan of Simon Garfunkel for years. I thought I'd start a bit of a show. I just wanted to say it's not a tribute, because we don't dress up or we don't do any of that. We just wanted to concentrate purely on the songs and the recordings, and maybe put our own blend in there as well, from a guitar player's point of view and from a singer-songwriter's point of view. Just try and alter it slightly without wandering too far away from the original recordings was the plan. So we've been about probably 18 months now doing this and playing all over the place, mainly small art centres, village halls, church halls, just taking the show out into the sticks, really.
Right. So were you performing solo before you kind of got together as a duo?
Yeah, well, Ian will tell you a little bit about his albums and bits and pieces. I've just been basically playing guitar and writing bits of music, mainly sort of film and TV music in the last few years,
right,
for 20 years. And Ian's been doing his own thing, which he'll tell you about.
Right. No, I was sort of been writing my own stuff for, 20 years. Released 3 albums, and you get to know different musicians in the area, and through a mutual friend of ours, the mighty Lee Sloan. He introduced us both 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. And it was always, we'd do little bits and bobs together, and we always kind of thought, that sounds great, but too busy to do anything serious, And then it'd probably be 2 years ago, Boxing Day night, Tim called me up and asked, after we both had a few drinks, how do you fancy
as you do?
How do you fancy putting this Simon Garfunkel show together? And I sort of went, yeah, why not? And then woke up in the morning and thought, what did I just agree to there? So I think, hang on, look at them harmonies and those guitar parts and things, but we just studied it intensively for good 3 months, and solid rehearsing and put the thing together, so, and then took it out. So
right. Yeah. So the previous individual music that you did solo, was that what kind of music was that? What kind of genre of music was it that you were previously doing?
I guess it sort of lends itself slightly to folk music. Listening to, it's varied really. I mean, I sort of grew up listening to the Beatles, but then I listened to a lot of Dylan and stuff like that. So that all comes out in my own stuff, Right. And Simon Garfunkel was always, a big part of my growing up, So we've, that's the kind of the Mutual Appreciation Society, We've
right.
both got a passion for the music, that lends itself into our original. Even Tim's original music's got elements of Simon Garfunkel in it. You can hear it there, the harmonies and the crowded house and stuff like that. So yeah.
So then you kind of brought it together. I mean, I was interested in the point that you made there about not being a tribute band. I must admit, personally, I don't like the word tribute band, but I interview so many different musicians, artists who often do label themselves in a way as tribute bands, and I think that's what you were saying is something that I think is that it should be about the quality of the music and the sounds that you create. I don't know if, in fact, that's what you were meaning when you say you're not a tribute band.
Well, I've been on the road for years with professional bands, and we've done lots of festivals. Mainly, I worked for a while with sort of an Irish and country band when I first started out. And we used to do all these big country music festivals, and they usually be held at hotels, whole days. And you'd occasionally get a tribute act. And I think that's when I started to think, I'm not really sure about tribute, because you used to see bands that used to look, you'd think it was Freddie Mercury or whoever it was going to be. but when they started, you had to switch off them because they sounded nothing like them. So I wanted to do the reverse of that, which was we don't look anything like them, and we look ridiculous in wigs. And even Ian's waistcoat doesn't suit him, and my wig's not very good either. So I decided that let's just sound like them. Let's not mess about putting makeup on for 3 hours before the show. Let's spend 3 hours tuning the guitars, getting the PA to sound clean, not too loud, making sure the stage and we've travelled with minimal gear, but it's good, really good equipment, and good guitars, some of which are hand built locally. So we try and we just try and make it a good show from a sound point of view. I mean, because I don't think we're that great to look at anyway. I mean, I even noticed you've got a screen up here which possibly isn't high enough. So you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we have no webcams, so you're okay. There's no webcams in the studio.
Yeah, I was looking when I came in. Yeah, I've got my pistol anyway.
So when you got together, what was the most difficult part then of recreating this? Was it trying to? I mean, because
vocal blend.
Was it the vocal blend? I was going to ask about that.
But blending the vocals and getting the phrasing, because what we did was when we first started rehearsing, we used to record every rehearsal on a little digital sort of MP3 player with a condenser mic in. And the first thing that we noticed was that the guitar playing fine, and Ian did what he did, and I played some lead guitar over the top and did some arrangements, and then we started singing, and it was kind of like there was a lot of drop-off where he'd carry on, I'd stop, or we'd phrase something and we wouldn't put, as I would say, a comma in there. Which is, if you listen to Simon Garfunkel, the other thing with Simon Garfunkel, which people forget, you can almost be too barbershop sound with it, because the Simon Garfunkel harmony, even now when I listen to the greatest hits, it's like watching a baby grow. Every day there's a little change. Every time I listen to the tracks, I hear something else that I didn't hear before. And it was mainly this thing of Garfunkel sometimes sings in unison with Paul Simon, breaks off into a third above in the harmony just for certain words, then goes into a fifth the next time, then a major seventh, and then comes back into unison. So it's not just a case of singing and harmonising. There's all sorts going on.
That's interesting.
And at first we really struggled getting that blend. I think sometimes people think, you get two people who can sing, or four people who can sing, and put them in a band. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to blend, as individual singers.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So we spent probably a month with the music and the guitar parts, and then probably a good 2 months rehearsing quite a lot just with the voices.
Well, one of the things you used to say was that, say for instance, Lennon would sing round, but Simon Garfunkel sings square, so everything's...
Imagine a shape, Lennon and Dylan, they sing very round, and every word sort of mingles into the next. With Simon Garfunkel, certainly square and rectangular shapes come into it a lot, if you can imagine that as a vocalist. It's sharpening all the edges.
Right. And before you started then on this journey or singing as Simon and Garfunkel, did you already know whose vocals each of you would do? I mean, were you already aware of that? Or was it when you started to get together and sing that you maybe decided on it?
Well, it's a tricky one, this, I guess, because I've been used to doing Simon Garfunkel songs for years, just in my set. Not lots of them, but certainly the classics. And anyone that I ever worked with, I just used to say to them, because I'm used to doing harmonies, do you want to sing the main part? Do you want me to harmonise, or vice versa? And we always got into this conversation of who was doing what. Now, certainly, when we got together, Ian said, look, I've never done any of the harmonies on any of these songs. I just know them. So I said, well, let's not complicate it. You just sing the part you know. And sometimes he doesn't realise it, but he goes into a sort of a harmony.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You weren't aware. You'd not really picked that up.
No, it's to this day, how it works.
It just suddenly,
it just kind of works.
Right.
We're not fitting into the characters as saying, he's doing
that
Garfunkel's part.
Just sing what we sing, and then intermingle. So he'll sing something. I think, well, he's actually gone into the Paul Simon part there. And if you listen to Garfunkel, he's gone underneath. So what I'll do is I'll go underneath Ian and sing the lower part. And then for the next verse, it's almost a bit of VSP going on. I think he's going to go higher now. So I need to come above that in a falsetto just for those 3 words, you know, and then back. But it was easier to do that and just do it how we felt natural, but still honour the recordings and do the parts, but just do it where it fell, you know, on the night almost. So that's what we do.
Did you ever get the opportunity to go and see them in concert?
I don't know. Have you been to see them?
No, I saw him at Glastonbury, Paul Simon, but not only a dot on the horizon.
I seen him 2003.
Beautiful voice, brilliant voice.
Yeah, in 2003, Old Friends, the reunion when they had the Everly Brothers up with him. Of course, Phil's died now.
Yeah,
and it was great. And it was that time I thought, wouldn't it be great to do a show? And it only took me 8 years to plan it.
So where did you do the first time you performed it in public then? What was your feelings afterwards? Where was that at?
Well, we worked different in respect of, I think Ian, and with respect to him as well, he would have probably rehearsed for another 3 or 4 months after the initial 3 months of rehearsal, because we all like to get it right. My feeling was, let's just book a gig in, sell tickets, even though we're not quite sure what we're doing yet. And we worked towards that date. So I rang him about a week after we started rehearsing and said, look, we're out on the 3rd of May, 2012. And he was, what? I said, yeah, I've booked a little arts centre in Croston in Lancashire, and we're selling tickets are going already. And he was like, "Oh no, we've not. We've only done Homeward Bound." So
brilliant.
So we just, but I like to do that. I like this pressure of knowing you've got a date there and you have to perform.
It certainly worked though, didn't it? It's certainly the way forward rather than because I'll just keep it hanging on till
And for those sort of fans out there who come and watch us, we are changing the show as well. We are adding, and we do the same thing. We just turn up at a venue and think we need to change the set this year because we've got people who are coming to every show,
Right.
So, but the problem being, there's lots of songs in the Paul Simon repertoire, but we have to be mindful that there's people who are coming for the first time who need all the classics in. You can't start taking out Bridge Over Troubled Water and The Boxer and Homeward Bound. You've got to be really careful. So we are changing odd songs in the set, and the way we work then, we just rehearse them and say, right, that's it. Next gig, they're going in.
I was going to ask you, what are the expectations of the people who come along and see you? What are they expecting, do you think?
Well, they expect us to be good.
Yeah.
They've well and truly got the idea now that we're not a tribute.
Because you keep telling them.
Is that right? Does he tell them on stage?
I tell them,
and we don't look like them.
That's right.
That's the big giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, Ian actually has forgot his curlers tonight, so
yeah,
it looks like that.
But I would imagine, I could be wrong on this, but I would imagine that because it's Simon and Garfunkel and the music of Simon and Garfunkel, that in many ways to a lot of the tribute bands out there, I would imagine the audience are really quite onto you when they listen to your music and wanting you to recreate authentic Simon and Garfunkel music. Would I be right?
Yeah, we get some really nice comments. We have a mailing list, and it's a joke really, because the first couple of shows, for quite a few of the shows, no one used to sign it.
Yeah.
And I make a joke now that we've stopped selling details to PPI and claim companies. because the thing is, it's almost a fear, and people are always stopping you in Asda now wanting to sign up to something and get your bank details. So it's a joke now. I just say to people, look, we just keep them on a mailing list, and we just let you know about the shows. But we've had some great comments. I mean, one of the comments that comes through a lot is it brought back memories, and I closed my eyes and I was back there again. I kind of like that because we're trying to do it on sound. We don't have there's a little bit of banter in between, but we're just trying to concentrate purely on the music. So we like that. We did get a comment once. We did a big charity event, and it was one of our busiest shows, and I said to Ian, let's get the mailing list when we get back to the hotel. Let's get the mailing list and have a look through it and see all these comments. There must have been loads, and there was one comment, and and it said, "Hot pot better than expected," because he served food before the show. You know, and I thought, well, we don't need to rehearse anymore. That's it. We might as well mime. You know,
every show now, when you read the mailing list, there's always someone that's put hot pot better than expected.
Yeah, someone. It's a joke now. People put things like no loo roll in the gents and stuff like that. You know, in comments. So
great.
But the fan base is growing, and which we're pleased about, of course.
Well, now we've whet the appetite of the listeners, where can they see you? Have you got any gigs coming up quite soon?
Yeah, the next one is this Thursday at Shaw Hill Golf Club,
right,
in Chorley.
Yeah.
Doors 7:30 for an 8 o'clock start, and I think they're also running an early bird pre-concert menu in the restaurant there.
Not hot pot.
Not hot pot. I don't think it's hot pot anyway. We'll find out. Could be. And you can get the tickets directly from Shaw Hill. You can call the hotel for more details. And then after that, we are
Pateley Bridge
near Harrogate on the 8th of Feb. And then the next one local is Whalley, isn't it? On Catforth.
16th of March at Whalley
Village Hall.
And then the 21st of March at Catforth.
Right.
Yeah, just outside Preston. So you can find us on Facebook.
I was going to ask, details where people can find you.
Yeah, there's a link to the website. The best way to get on to find us on a celebration of Simon and Garfunkel on Facebook.
Right. Simon and Garfunkel on Facebook.
Yeah, celebration of the music of Simon and Garfunkel.
Right.
On Facebook.
I suppose the other thing, I need to move on, but I suppose the other thing also is that there's going to be younger and younger audiences through yourselves discovering the music of Simon and Garfunkel.
We did a show at Christmas, and
I thought we got the wrong venue. Actually, I thought it was like a school party.
Is that right?
And it was a full house, and there was halfway through the show, I was to look down, and at the front of us here was there was this 6 or 7 young girls and boys, you know, just sitting there with their Christmas jumpers on, singing to all the songs, you know. And then we got chatting to them at the end, and they said, "Oh, no, we're massive Simon Garfunkel fans," you know, which is fantastic, because it just, you know, it just shows that it's affecting generation after generation, and that is great, isn't it? Which is what, you know, music should do, you know, good music. So. But it was pleasing to see, wasn't it? You know, yeah. So
great. Well, we're going to play out, I think, with The Only Living Boy in New York. This is from CD. Is this available? Can people find this? Where can they?
Well, it's mainly available on gigs. It's a BBC recording,
right?
Which we call the official bootleg. So if people come to the concerts, they can
get a copy.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so you can go along on Thursday, 30th of January, and it's Shaw Hill Golf Club, Whitley Woods, Chorley. And can I thank you both, Tim, Chu and Ian Bailey, for coming in this morning.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to meet you. And let's listen to The Only Living Boy in New York.
This is The Only Living Boy in New York.
Get you played right on time. I know you're part of gold fine. Fly down to Mexico. Da-da-da, here I am. The only little boy in New York. Oh, I get the news I need on the weather report.
Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed today's interview, why not tweet Hughie at ChatCityPFM.